Pulse, guys, welcome back to another video. This is another random reaction, and this one is from Evan Edinger. I can't say his name, but I've reacted to his channel before and I enjoyed the video, and I think it's to do with the differences in schools. And obviously, he can only speak for himself, it doesn't speak for everyone, but it's still interesting to see his sort of comparison to British schools. But yeah, this one is income tax, or just tax, and it's British versus American. I don't know, I just sort of I first saw another reactor post this, and it popped up in my suggested, and I thought this could be quite interesting to see, to be fair, because I don't even know necessarily loads about tax in the UK. If I'm being 100% of you, I don't really know how it works. I know like the certain points, like your first 12k that you earn doesn't get taxed no matter what. Then your next like 30k, you get like 20% taxed. And then 50k, another 40% tax, and then 100k, then 60% tax. It's weird, but they'll probably explain it better. I'm sure of that. But yeah, man, and I know that it's at the same time of the year as well. I think it's around April. But yeah, let's get into this. Hopefully, going to enjoy. Quick shout out to my Instagram and my Twitter. Links in the description for those interested. Closing in on 7k on my Instagram, so I'd appreciate you helping me get to that. And my Patreon, yeah, links are there for those interested. Nearly at 300 patrons again. We were there at the end of the month last month, but obviously some people unsubscribe at the end of the month. So we're getting closer. We're 15 away, so I'd appreciate you helping me get to that. But let's get into this and see what this video has to say. And yeah, thank you for the support.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of British vs. American. Today, featuring none other than
me,
Luke Cutforth. Wow. Welcome to the show.
Also, today's video is brought to you by Licked, so you'll be hearing more about that in the middle of the video.
What the fuck?
Luke here is my only friend that I think is knowledgeable about taxes.
Just knowledgeable.
Just knowledgeable.
Bro, being knowledgeable about taxes is actually a very good thing, man. You'd be surprised. I mean, I don't really know anything about it. And then you get a hefty fine because you forget about how it works, you don't know how it works. And because I'm self-employed, it's 10 times harder. I don't know if it's the same in the US, but in the UK it's 10 times harder. And you get taxed more because you're self-employed. And it's a bit of a mess, to be honest. Like people said, in the US, people who are self-employed are celebrated more, aren't they? And maybe it isn't the same kind of self-employment, but I feel like you get taxed less. In the UK, man, that's not how it works. Unless you like sign up for something, but I don't understand it again. So yeah, I mean, not knowledgeable in it at all, so it's good to have a friend who is.
And there. Today's video is about taxes. Sounds really sexy, I know. It very much is.
Taxes are not sexy. Is not sexy.
That's the hashtag.
Many of my friends, when they turn 18 or they become self-employed, like friends I have who are like creative or artistic, they'll be like trying as hard as they can to avoid paying tax, right?
Which is something you should not
Which is not
do.
Yeah, absolutely. And my advice I always give to them is when I was starting to earn money, I was like, oh no, I've got to pay tax. And as soon as I started paying tax, I just felt much better because it was like so much less anxiety.
Yes, just pay it.
Felt like I was contributing to the world. This is not like sponsored by the Queen.
Her Majesty's Royal Currency? What's HMRC?
HMRC. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs.
Revenue and Customs. That's who you pay money to.
Majesty's Royal Currency.
Who would win in a fight, though?
Yeah.
IRS or the HMRC?
Oh, IRS.
Yeah, the IRS is how we bring down our biggest criminals.
HMRC, like in my experience, and I've paid tax as an individual and also as a business, they've always actually been really helpful. They're like pretty good. I mean, I'm sure they're unpleasant if you've got a big tax bill and they're coming after you, but like.
They worked with me when I had an issue where I was late, and they were quite polite about it.
Yeah, you've got like stories about the IRS from America, and I'm just like, that's terrifying.
If we're just going to start on income tax, when you get taxed on the money that you make, how does the PAYE, how does that work?
Right, so I've never had PAYE.
Pay as you earn?
Pay as you earn, yeah. PAYE is what you'd have if you're employed.
See, it's just
full-time job type thing.
I wish, I mean, I know it's probably hard when you're self-employed because you don't know what your month's going to be. Like, one month you could earn loads, the next month you could earn little. But like, if I just... It's just so much easier to just get taxed as soon as you get paid, like, because otherwise you just get yourself in a big hole and you're fucked. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's just a bit of a struggle, to be honest.
Yeah, and your employer, and part-time, but your employer is doing your tax return for you. And you get a PAYE slip, which basically says to you, this is what you earned, and this is how much tax you paid.
Have a nice day.
And the key thing is that the money that you get taxed never enters your bank account. So when we're like YouTubers, we get paid.
Oh yes.
Like £1,000 for something, and we will owe tax on the £1,000, and it's our job to keep that money separate and eventually pay it to Her Majesty.
Yes.
And with PAYE, it's much easier, and you never see the money that you're paying in tax.
Yes, when I've had full-time jobs, I was very surprised. So in April, I just get a letter from HMRC saying, hey, you paid your taxes, this is what you paid.
Yeah.
Hope you have a nice life next year. And I'm so used to having to file a giant form
Yeah.
and have people paid to do it. So I was very surprised.
With PAYE as well, by the way, one thing you get sometimes, which is what my dad gets, because my mum is only part-time employed and she has her own personal allowance, but they're married, so their personal allowance is
together.
conjoined.
Yeah.
But that's not calculated by the employer. So at the end of every tax year, my dad gets a check for like quite a bit of money for like the money, like a few grand or something, because it's tax that he paid that could come out of my mum's personal allowance, and we get a nice little tax rebate. So my dad gets a little bit of extra money every year because the tax man is not very good at their job,
Wait,
and they only do it once a year.
Does he have to tell them that he overpaid?
So he was getting this for 2 or 3 years, and he was like, why do they keep giving me money? I don't understand.
So in the U.S., you have to file income taxes every year. It's called the 1040 or the 1040EZ, the 1040A. I think they've just replaced it with just
you
the
have
1040.
to file your own taxes.
Of course you have to file your own taxes.
What do you mean, of course?
Well, what's annoying is the government and the IRS actually do know how much you've been paid, but they just want to know that you know. So you have to tell them. It's quite upsetting. It's a bit complicated. At the end of your year, you basically need to add up. I actually have, for your viewing pleasure. So here we have the 2018 individual tax return. Oh, here's a fun fact. 90% of people that get their taxes done have it prepared by someone else in the US. 90%.
90%.
So 1 out of every 10 people does it themselves.
So this is mad. So what's going on here is that basically when you're employed in the UK, part of the business is paying for an accountant to do your PAYE for you,
That makes
so that you don't have to pay to have it done, because it's not your responsibility, it's the employer's responsibility. In the US, they've just gone,
So this is people who are employed by companies. They're not self-employed. This has made me feel a bit better about myself. What the hell? God damn. That's wild, man. I just thought it was just sort of how it worked. You just got taxed if you worked for a company or like whatever. Like you weren't self-employed. That's a shock for sure.
business is king, and then made all these like individual people pay for accountants?
Well,
that's awful.
Yeah, so there's a load of like tax filing companies. There's H&R Block. You can get a private accountant, but you kind of need one because they are able to find you the best amount of money back. So no matter what, you will work with someone who's like, oh, did you possibly spend money on a charitable contribution?
Right.
They then write that as a deductible.
Yeah.
And then you get a huge amount of cash back.
So the key thing here is that in the UK, if you are employed under PAYE,
Yeah.
you don't get to deduct things like your petrol bills or like your stationery or stuff like that. So as self-employed people,
You
if
can.
I buy a camera, I can deduct the cost of the camera off of my income
Because that's a business expense.
because it's a business expense, and they hope that if I invest in stuff, I'll make more money and eventually pay more tax, right?
I've done the TurboTax myself, which is still a software to help, and it's not fun, especially because I'm an expat. So not only do I have to file U.S. taxes every year, even though I don't live there, I have to file the standard form, the self-employed form, and the form for people that live abroad. And that one is quite fun. Why do you think that consumers have to file their own taxes?
I'm guessing there was some deregulation law passed by a bad
Mildly
president.
correct. It's actually lobbying
Oh,
by
great.
the tax filing companies.
Oh my god.
The makers of TurboTax and other online systems spent millions lobbying last year, much of it directed toward a bill that would permanently bar the government from offering taxpayers pre-filled fee. Bloody hell, man.
Even though they have all the technology and everything should be fine to
That's
have
awful.
people not have to file their own taxes,
Yeah.
the tax filing company's like, whoa, nobody wants to not do their taxes. That's a fun 8 hours of their day. And so,
That's mad.
yes, very
That's
great.
real mad.
Because we can file for deductibles, people get very creative on
Yeah.
what is a business
Sure,
expense.
sure. Yeah, I have friends who used to claim for like T-shirts because they were like, I wore them in a video, therefore it's a tax. It's really bad.
That's
yeah.
a bit shifty.
Yeah, I mean
wouldn't wanna get
that
audited.
exists in the creative industries. I think I've always been pretty like very honest with my taxes actually.
Same. I don't
because I
like
just
that.
don't think
Yeah.
it's worth the anxiety.
Don't be Yoshi. You know, pay your taxes. Do you know what the mortgage interest deductible is?
pretty
if
cool.
you buy a nice big size home, it promotes people to buy their own homes. The interest that you have on the loan, you can write off completely.
Yeah.
So it encourages more people to just
That is
buy
really cool.
more homes.
That's really cool.
It
oh,
was,
more homes.
well, it works only up to 2 homes.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, I mean, like, sure.
So if you get a mortgage of $250K for your home,
Yeah.
at a standard 4.3% interest, you're basically going to be spending $6,336 a year on interest alone. So that then could hopefully bring you down a tax bracket. That's a lot of money.
That's good.
Now, that was actually a thing in the UK, I did find out. Oh, yes, the United Kingdom introduced a scheme called the Miras in 1983, and it allowed mortgage interest to be tax deductible, but then it was abolished in 2000.
Yeah, bro. There's a thing in the UK where young people are just screwed, man. Buying homes in the UK is a fucking mess, man. It really is. What I'm seeing here is the US are actually caring for their people and their younger people trying to get their ways to own a house and stuff. Bro, that ain't the same in the UK. I can tell you that for sure, for sure.
It's not a thing anymore.
Well,
Whereas mortgage interest relief at source was introduced in 1980. I've always seen this.
thanks for that dangling a bit of heaven in front of me and then going, you're never going to own a house. And even if you do, you'll be paying lots of tax.
Correct. The way that the US income tax works is similar to the UK in that it is
Tiered.
tiered. It's a tiered system.
Okay,
It's
that's
called
good.
progressive tax.
Yeah.
We're very progressive. Not quite. So in the UK, what is the amount you have to make to get zero tax?
12,000, roughly
So
12,000.
under 12,000,
Yeah.
you don't pay any tax on that at all.
Oh, you pay national insurance, but you don't pay.
Okay, any tax.
Yeah.
What do you think the number is in the US for that? How many
I
thousands
would-
of dollars?
I would hope like 20.
Trick question. You'll never not pay tax.
What?
Wow. Oh, wow. So there's a lot of benefits to the US, and there's also a lot of negatives to the US, and there's a lot of benefits to the UK, and there's also a lot of negatives to the UK. And also, I know this doesn't just stand for the whole US, because certain parts of the US change like state by state, right? But that is wild, non-existent.
No matter how poor you are, no matter how little you have, you will pay tax. Small amount.
I've heard about this
but you will
before
pay.
because you can get you can be like a homeless person and technically you owe tax
Yes.
on your homeless beggings.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
totally mad.
I like that in the UK you do get like 12 grand of tax-free income. So if
That's
you're
a
not doing
really
well-
big. Like we complain about our country a lot, and there are plenty of things that can be improved. But it's a really big deal that we have. If you're say a teacher or something, and you're earning in the range of like 20,000, 25,000 a year, that half your salary is non-taxable. Like
Yeah.
that's a big deal that we need to be really grateful for. Obviously, there can be things that will be better, and we will have
Work on
progressive change. But it's a really big
Once
deal.
we leave for you. Basically, if you make up to around $10,000, you pay 10% interest.
The idea that you're earning $10,000 and you're already paying tax is just disgusting.
Well-
you can't live on that.
If you're making up to $39,000, we pay 12%.
Yeah.
What would you guys pay?
Oh.
in the UK?
So up to something like the mid 40,000s, we pay 20% tax.
Yes, and then
But how it works, so like you won't get any tax for the 11,000, but then the next 35,000 you get taxed 20%. So forget about the 12,000 you just earned. 35% you get 20% taxed, and then for the next 100k or 50k that you earn, you'll then get taxed 40. And it's quite weird to explain, but I feel like it would make sense.
and on top of that is
40% tax.
40%.
Yeah, between 40 something thousand and about 150,000.
Is 40%.
Yeah.
Well, if we wanted to be taxed in the US for 40% of our money, you just can't, no matter how much you make. It will never get that high. You guys
Oh wow! So it's kind of like the poorer just stay poor, and the richer you're just getting cash money, baby. I mean, at the same time, though, I mean, getting taxed 37% if you're earning 500. Wow. I still can't believe this one. That is wild. Absolutely wild.
40,000 get that.
So you've got a super conservative government.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a good thing in there, which is that in the UK
Yeah.
we don't have a tiered system above 150,000.
Yeah.
So like if you're earning between 150,000 and 20 million a year, you're in the same tax bracket.
Which
Oh,
is still
really?
40%,
It's
which
a
is
high
more
tax
than the
bracket.
US.
Yeah, that's the key thing. It's a high tax bracket. And we've had crazy high tax brackets in the past. There's been like 85% tax in some of the tax bands in the UK at points in history.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's why.
That makes sense.
That's why I think the song "Taxman" by the Beatles is about. It's about how they were making loads of money and the taxman just took it all. Speaking of earning lots of money,
Jeez.
hey look, a sponsor.
Again, this wants a shout out from getting his money, man. I'm sure half of it's going to get taxed, but you know what? Respect to man. Getting his money, you love to see it. You love to see
Numbers
it.
look nice. I want to move to the US to save money. That's just the for sponsoring this video. And without further ado, let's get back into the taxes. Now, to anyone thinking that these numbers look nice, I want to move to the US to save money. That's
Yeah,
just
bro, I'm seeing this right now, and I'm just kind of like, moving to the US. Houses are cheaper. You get like more opportunity to buy a house without getting like without the price rising, you get taxed less. It's just like right now, my head is just thinking, oh god damn, I'm jealous.
The U.S. is federal income tax. We also have state taxes.
Right.
We also have
Wait, so you have taxes as well as this?
local taxes.
Yes.
We also have
And-
property taxes.
That doesn't include any free healthcare as well.
Correct. However, you do get a deductible. Speaking of deductibles, if you pay for health insurance, if as a self-employed person, 100% of the health insurance cost, your premium, can get deducted.
Oh,
Wow, what a tiny little good thing in a sea of crap.
You also can deduct your state tax from your federal income tax.
Okay.
If you went to school after high school, $2,000 off. That's pretty nice as a deductible.
Wait, $2,000 off a
so you
year?
get taxed from the state and from the. Oh my days! Oh wow!
Yes, every year.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Isn't
That's
that nice?
kind of cool.
Because you're swimming in debt, so I mean,
Yeah,
there's little
yeah.
things. But the whole goal with these deductibles is try and decrease your tax bracket to pay as little as possible.
Sure.
Also, if you have a child, you get $2,000 per child per year.
Wow. All right, cool.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm gonna have 20 children.
That's what people do.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's what people say.
That's-
And then also, all of your gym bills can be deducted if your doctor said you need to go to the gym. Just get a
Cool.
signature. So
Really
basically,
cool.
there's a lot of ways you can get your tax bracket down,
Yeah.
but
lot of
you have to
interesting
do a
ways as well.
lot of work to do this.
Yeah, and you have to have a good accountant, which costs money. Your accountant, I assume, is off your tax bill, though.
I believe that is there. Yes, you do get money off for your tax preparation.
Great news.
The goal is, if you do it yourself, you might miss some cool stuff that can give you extra money, all these deductibles. But your accountant will actually make you more than you spend on them. That's the goal.
It's a kind of weird system, though, where basically, like, they're like, okay, your taxes will be really low, but also everything that you hold dear will be privatized, so you'll have to spend your wage on it. But then, all the things that you hold dear will then be tax deductible. Well, why not just make them public then? If you're gonna privatize the healthcare system, but then give people money off their taxes because you privatize the healthcare system, you may as well just be paying for the healthcare system directly.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. But rich people. That's why.
Just in case anyone's curious, because I am an American expat living in the UK, I do have to pay taxes in both countries. It's like a double taxation clause.
Wow.
But there's a foreign income exclusion. So as long as you're not making over 100 grand, which I'm not, you don't really have to pay.
If you're making 101, do you then pay tax on the entire amount? or
No,
just
no,
the
just the
amount?
extra.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I was gonna say, imagine if someone was like giving you a pound coin and you were like, no, please, you'll take me over the tax bracket. Say in the UK you're making £11,999 and the limit is 12,000. People think that if you earn £1 over 12,000, you then pay tax on the full amount.
I used to think this. This is literally what I used to think. I was like, how can you earn more if you're earning more, but then you're getting taxed more? But then I understood. Again, we don't get taught this kind of stuff. It's a mess. How we don't get taught this stuff when we're in school, man. I'm still learning now, and I've just turned 20.
And you actually would pay tax on the pound, the extra pound. And similarly, if you earned 46,000, for example, and the limit's 45, for example, then you would only pay the higher rate of tax on the extra 1,000 that you earned over the tax bracket, not 40% of 46,000 pounds.
Why don't they teach this in school?
Yeah, well, exactly. And then you have in the UK self-employed, which is like
Do you get taught this stuff in the US in schools about tax? Because if you do, god damn, the UK is in a mess. Like, we don't teach.
essentially what you were talking about in America, where like
We can deduct stuff.
yeah, I as a self-employed person, say I earn 30 grand in a year, and I spend £10,000 on camera equipment and lighting and Mac and
Hardcore
like,
budgeting you did there.
sure, like I'm just throwing numbers out, right? That would mean that I had earned a profit of £20,000, and I would then be paying tax on £20,000,
Not
with
on
a £12,000 allowance, so I'd be paying tax on £8,000 at a rate of 20%. It's a really interesting way of doing it because it really encourages individuals to become self-employed people and eventually to start businesses. When you really learn about tax stuff and not just understand how PAYE it works, which is one tiny bit of the UK tax code, it's a really interesting world. And some of the stuff like VAT, for example, allows people to take risks and be slightly less likely to lose loads of money.
Well, if you're interested in learning more about VAT and some more of sales tax and state tax in the US, subscribe or click here. We have a second
Good video, man.
coming
I've
out
really
next
enjoyed
week
this
if you're
one.
interested in taxes.
I really enjoyed this one. This guy knows his stuff, man. Again, he's taught me a lot. I've learned a lot through this video. The way you just explained it at the end. Again, just why don't we get taught this stuff in school when I've learned that the US in the US, the price of the item in the store is not the actual price of the item in the register. Blew my mind. How on earth do people shop? Yeah, I remember when I first learnt this. It is kind of crazy. Learned more about the UK tax system in 50 minutes than I have in 17 years. Thanks for educating us on what we didn't learn in school. Luke is the only one knowledgeable about tax. That says something about our education system. UK accountant here. In the UK, a pay employee can choose to file a return or claim all those tasty deductions if they want to. When you're taxed at 10%, it's all refunded. If you earn less than 12,000, while you were taxed 10%, it's all refunded if you earn less than $12,000. 2019 tax year, due to the standard deduction when it comes to filing, tax liability and tax brackets are not the same. The information in this video is wrong in so many ways. Listening to these guys talk about taxes is about as helpful as asking your grandparents to ask for your iPhone. I don't get why Americans who don't live in the US have to pay US taxes. That's kind of wild. Also in the UK, if you win the lottery, you can be taxed on it. You can't be taxed on it. I want more Irish people. Luke's a ginger, so I guess it's close enough. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Again, bit of a different one, but I enjoyed it for sure. Let me know your thoughts on this. Maybe, again, the information was wrong on certain things. And yeah, just tell me what it was wrong about. Explain it better to me. And yeah, hopefully enjoy. Until next time. Like, subscribe. Peace.